And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher is on a mission, tearing through woke arguments like it's his 9 to 5, and his latest target? None other than Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be honest, the actress practically set herself up with her long list of cringeworthy statements since 2022. But Maher didn't just call her out, he shredded her verbally, piece by piece, in a takedown so ruthless it had Whoopi scrambling for cover like a cartoon character dodging falling anvils. So what did Goldberg say this time to trigger Maher's unfiltered wrath? And how did his comeback leave the woke crowd completely speechless? Don't worry, we've got all the explosive details right here. Strap in, folks. This isn't just a wild ride. It's a full-blown roller coaster with no seatbelts.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Goldberg poked the bear, and now she's feeling the full force of brutal truth. And trust me, it's not pretty. Remember our last video where Bill Maher tore into Sunny Hostin for twisting his words? Well, this time, the View crew isn't going to take the L quietly. Enter Goldberg, apparently on a revenge mission, ready to claim her pound of flesh. Looks like Sunny couldn't handle the heat Maher brought, so she called in the cavalry, Whoopi herself. And wow, did she show up hot. Ready to throw down like a reality show contestant nobody asked for.
And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class? I mean...
Classic Goldberg, flipping through the woke playbook like it's her Bible. When your argument is sinking faster than the Titanic, just grab a straw man and go on the attack. Bill Maher was making a clear point about black Americans wanting better jobs, a stronger economy, and responsible policing. Pretty straightforward, right? But here comes Whoopi, rambling about voting for a former prosecutor with plans for the working class. Does that connect? Nope. See the logic. Of course not, because there isn't any. It's like she's throwing darts blindfolded, hoping something sticks. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. And Bill Maher wasn't about to let that slide.
Tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no. It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Bill Maher didn't hold back. He called out Whoopi's ideas as, well, probably nonsensical, which, let's be honest, is pretty typical for The View. The show has become the political talk show equivalent of a train wreck. Painful to watch, yet somehow impossible to look away from. Sure, it's known for controversial and, let's face it, questionable takes on just about everything. But Sunny Hostin and Goldberg managed to take the chaos to a whole new level with their absolutely outrageous commentary. Remember that time Charlemagne, the God, appeared as a guest? You could practically see him wondering if he'd walked straight into some alternate reality.
Criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
Here's the backstory. President Joe Biden, the self-proclaimed champion of no one is above the law, just pardoned his son, Hunter Biden, after, surprise, surprise, he was found guilty of corruption and other related offenses. Talk about family values, right? This move predictably set off a firestorm of criticism. After all, how do you reconcile the whole no one is above the law mantra when your own son gets a free pass? It's almost like saying justice is blind, unless you're a Biden. Hunter's guilt was as obvious as a toddler with cookie crumbs all over his face, yet somehow accountability didn't make it onto the family calendar. That was Charlemagne's point. If the woke mob truly believes no one is above the law, then they should actually live by their own rules. Simple, right? Well, Whoopi thought otherwise.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You
his
really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all
No,
of a sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
And there you have it. Another eye-roll-inducing gem from the queen of cringe herself, Whoopi Goldberg. This time, Whoopi actually claimed that President Biden didn't lie when he said, "No one is above the law." Really, Whoopi? Because there's a mountain of evidence, video, audio, and probably even cave paintings showing he said exactly that.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
Watching Goldberg tell a blatant lie is like watching someone confidently argue the sky isn't blue while standing under a cloudless sky. At this point, Goldberg's mental gymnastics could probably earn her a gold medal in the Olympics, but even then, she'd likely trip over her own logic. You could see the shock on Charlemagne's face at her statements, but she didn't stop there. She even claimed it's possible Biden changed his mind because he was sick and tired of watching everybody get over him. Charlemagne, stunned into complete silence.
So I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
you're
go out.
mis-
They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
The problem with the woke mob, they only call out wrongdoing when the offender isn't part of their little exclusive club. But when the guilty party is one of their own, suddenly outrage turns into whispered defenses or a convenient case of selective amnesia. Of course, Goldberg and her crew got away with their shenanigans when Charlemagne was on the show. But when Bill Maher caught wind of their antics, he said, "Hold my beer," and delivered one of the most savage verbal takedowns we've heard in a long time.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit.
Maher couldn't have said it better. The woke mob loves to parade themselves as the ultimate truth tellers and moral arbiters. But this time, their double standards were on full display. Hunter Biden was guilty, plain and simple. Yet because his dad happens to sit in the Oval Office, he walks away without so much as a slap on the wrist. If this were anyone else, the mob would be demanding their head on a silver platter. But when it's one of their own, suddenly justice takes a back seat to favoritism. It's hypocrisy at its finest, and Maher was right to call it out for what it truly is, a complete farce. The real question is, how much longer will Americans tolerate this two-faced behavior? It's not just about Hunter, it's about a system that bends over backward for the powerful while throwing the book at everyone else. Maher's takedown wasn't just timely, it was a wake-up call for anyone still clinging to the illusion of fairness. And here's where it gets really interesting. Maher pointed out that the woke mob often got a helping hand from the mainstream media.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
The media bent over backward to downplay the Hunter Biden scandal, working overtime to shield President Biden and derail Trump's re-election bid. Key outlets dismissed the story as Russian disinformation, even as the evidence kept mounting, and they censored anyone who dared to question it. Goldberg eagerly joined the chorus, scoffing at the allegations on The View. But Maher wasn't having it. He called her out for playing defense instead of seeking the truth, tearing apart her excuses and exposing the blatant hypocrisy for everyone to see.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Maher was spot on. The ladies of The View, especially Goldberg, aren't just woke. They're like a pack of sharks, circling anyone who doesn't toe their line. Their brand of debate isn't about discussion or truth. It's about silencing dissent and enforcing their worldview with snark and sneers. Goldberg, in particular, has perfected the art of dismissing opposing voices with a casual wave of her hand, as if differing opinions are beneath her. Maher, however, wasn't afraid to call them out, exposing their tactics for what they really are, bullying disguised as activism. It's no wonder he's become a thorn in their side. For viewers tired of one-sided narratives, Maher's takedowns are like a breath of fresh air in a room full of stale arguments.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
Stop clutching your pearls over Trump's win and start facing reality. He didn't steal it, cheat for it, or conjure it out of thin air. He won it fair and square because millions of Americans liked what he was selling, no matter how much it made the progressive left gag. Instead of blaming Russia, racism, or whatever scapegoat is trending on X this week, maybe it's time to accept that democracy sometimes means the other team scores. It's not a glitch. It's the system working as intended. The sooner they stop playing the victim and start playing strategist, the better their shot will be in 2028 or even 2032.
He said there's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-common sense.
Bill Maher nails it again. Not everyone who voted for Trump is hosting MAGA rallies in their backyard or bowing to golden statues. A lot of them held their noses and cast their votes because they were fed up with the Democrats' sanctimonious sermons and the woke mob's increasingly anti-common sense agenda. Let's be real. When you're cheering for biological men dominating women's sports or holding rallies that look suspiciously sympathetic to groups like Hamas, you're going to lose a chunk of the electorate. People didn't vote for Trump because they loved his tweets or his tanning bed glow. They did it because the alternative felt like a lecture from a self-righteous vegan at a barbecue. If the left wants to win, maybe it's time to stop alienating the middle by embracing every fringe idea in the activist playbook and start focusing on what actually makes sense to the average American.
The new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. No. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Yep, it's comedy gold. Bill Maher didn't just deliver the final nail in Whoopi Goldberg's coffin, he practically built the whole thing while laughing at the absurdity of it all. Goldberg, the self-appointed high priestess of the woke mob, decided to take a swing at Maher for daring to think for himself. Big mistake. Maher's response? Classic Bill, sharp, unapologetic, and devastatingly funny. He called out the irony of a co-host on The View, a show that markets itself as a forum for diverse opinions, attacking him for having a view she didn't like. A little rich, isn't it? A group that cries tolerance at every turn seems to think it only applies to their opinions. Maher, as usual, wasn't having it. He laid bare the hypocrisy of the woke echo chamber that Goldberg and her crew inhabit, where critical thinking is replaced by tribal loyalty and dissent is treated like heresy. Watching Maher dismantle their flimsy arguments was like watching Picasso paint, only his brushstrokes were sarcasm and logic. And with that, we draw the curtains on today's episode. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.